Okay.
The air crackled with anticipation as Mark, the powerful sorcerer of elements, time, and bad luck magic, squared off against Ben, the Wi-Fi keeper. They stood in a vast, abandoned server farm, its metal racks stretching into the gloom, providing a perfect backdrop for a clash of ancient power and modern control. Mark made the first move. With a sweep of his hand, a torrent of raw elemental energy erupted. Fireballs the size of boulders hurtled towards Ben, followed by jagged shards of ice and earth spikes tearing up from the floor. Your tech is no match for true magic. Mark boomed, his eyes glowing with arcane power. Ben, however, was unfazed. His hands glowed with a faint blue light, and around him, the air shimmered as if disturbed by an invisible current. As the fireballs approached, they suddenly distorted, their flames flickering wildly as if their very energy was being siphoned away. The ice shards shattered into dust mid-air, and the earth spikes crumbled before they could reach him. "I control the invisible currents, Mark," Ben replied, his voice calm amidst the chaos. "Every signal, every frequency. You can't touch what you can't disrupt," Mark scoffed, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Then, let's see how you handle a little bad luck." He extended a hand, and a wave of shimmering, dark energy washed over Ben. Immediately, the server racks around Ben began to spark erratically. A massive power surge surged through the floor, briefly overloading the circuits and causing parts of the facility to flicker into darkness.
I see what happened
Ben
at the end.
stumbled, his focus momentarily
I see what happened at the end with the last. I had to see what happened at the end, but Mark was up with the next move. He ain't out of the fight yet. I ain't trying to spoil it for y'all. Oops.
Broken as his own connection to the ambient Wi-Fi signals was destabilized by the sudden interference. Seizing the opportunity, Mark accelerated time around himself, moving with blur-like speed. He conjured a swirling vortex of wind and lightning, aiming to engulf Ben. But Ben, recovering quickly, pushed his glowing hands forward. A shimmering, hexagonal force field, seemingly woven from pure data and network signals, manifested around him, humming with incredible energy.
Okay.
The lightning dissipated against it, and the fierce winds merely rippled its surface. "You manipulate the flow of information," Ben stated, a new determination in his voice. "I am the flow." He retaliated by sending out invisible pulses. These weren't physical attacks, but pure electromagnetic energy.
Yeah, Mark.
One pulse slammed into Mark's temporal magic, causing his time acceleration to briefly stutter, making him feel a jarring slowdown before snapping back to normal speed. Another pulse targeted Mark's hands, causing his elemental conjurations to fizzle and spark uncontrollably for a moment. Mark growled, frustrated by the unseen attacks. He tried to slow time for Ben, but Ben's personal network seemed to be operating at a different frequency, making him immune to the direct temporal manipulation. Instead, Ben unleashed a concentrated beam of pure data, a blinding white light that shot from his palms. This wasn't just light, it was a focused burst of digital noise, designed to overwhelm and disrupt. Mark quickly erected a shield of condensed earth, but the data beam didn't just impact, it vibrated through the earth, making it
Hang on, y'all. I'm back, y'all.
unstable. He then unleashed a powerful temporal distortion, causing the very air around Ben to loop for a microsecond. A fleeting moment of rewind that left Ben feeling disoriented. "Enough of this parlor trickery," Mark roared. He began drawing on all his disciplines, weaving a complex spell. Elemental energies swirled around him, a fiery aura, icy tendrils, rocky projectiles, and gusts of wind. He then infused this elemental maelstrom with a powerful dose of bad luck, aiming to cause every aspect of Ben's connection and defense to fail. Finally, he prepared a localized temporal bubble, intending to trap Ben in a time loop while the elemental storm overwhelmed him.
Right.
But Ben was ready. He opened his mind not just to the local network, but to the global web, becoming a conduit for unseen information. His eyes glowed intensely. "You rely on your magic, Mark," Ben said, his voice echoing with digital clarity. "But I control the very fabric of connection." Just as Mark released his devastating combined attack, Ben unleashed a focused, targeted EMP, not a broad one, but one aimed directly at the intricate magical frequencies Mark was generating. Simultaneously, he flooded the immediate area with a chaotic barrage of digital noise, overwhelming Mark's senses and his magical focus. The EMP hit Mark's complex spell like a physical blow. The elemental energies flickered, the bad luck magic sputtered, and the temporal bubble collapsed before it could fully form. Mark reeled back, feeling a painful psychic shock as his magical connections were temporarily severed by the sheer volume of Ben's digital assault. Before Mark could recover, Ben took advantage of the disruption. He wasn't a physical combatant, but he didn't need to be. With a final surge of power, Ben overloaded every available wireless signal in the room, creating an invisible, overwhelming torrent of energy that solidified into a pure electromagnetic wave. It wasn't a physical strike. but a complete sensory and magical overload. Mark cried out as the invisible wave washed over him. His elemental energies flared once, then died. His time magic felt frozen, and even his bad luck powers turned against him as his own body briefly locked up. He stood there, unable to channel any magic, completely overwhelmed and disconnected. Ben lowered his hands, the glowing fading. "Your magic is powerful, Mark," he said, "but in the age of infinite connection, even the strongest sorcery can be drowned out." Mark, still reeling and unable to access his powers, could only glare. Ben, the Wi-Fi keeper, stood victorious, his mastery over the unseen networks proving to be the ultimate counter to Mark's formidable magic.
I get thoughtless rubber duck. I might be in that category.
Well, the mic is another word that you're using loosely, but it's a definite for me. You are in that category.
Loosey goosey, ladies. I belong there. I need to get out there. You know, I've been stuck at home for a
What to
bit.
do is get out there and get a job.
In the name of Jesus.
In the name of the good Lord, 45 years old, sitting at your house for the death.
I'm not done yet. What the freak?
Look at that. Have all that's had to.
Like a death light points at your face, a bald head, a fat nose, and a crusty lip. Talk about some damn skin.
Despite the overwhelming digital
Well, he said the whole
assault that had
story,
momentarily
actually.
shut down his magical abilities, Mark was not one to give up easily. A raw, primal surge of defiance ripped through him. He couldn't fully tap into the intricate web of elements, time, or bad luck, but a deep, innate wellspring of pure arcane energy still thrummed within his core.
Sure
With a
did.
guttural roar,
And more.
Mark ignored the buzzing in his mind and the temporary disarray of his senses. He clenched his fists, forcing every last ounce of residual magical power he could muster to coalesce between his outstretched palms. It wasn't the refined, multifaceted spellwork he was known for, but a desperate, furious discharge of raw, unchanneled magic.
He got
a
one
blinding,
magic, y'all.
emerald green energy beam, thick with crackling arcane force, ripped from Mark's hands, tearing through the air towards Ben, with incredible speed and destructive potential. It was a single, devastating blast, a last, desperate gamble to break through Ben's digital dominion.
Religious.
Yeah. I love the situation that fall all the place.
You're looking good. You're looking good tonight.
Thank you.
You're still single or what? You got somebody in your life?
I am single, yes. But if you're trying to push up on me, you marked up the wrong tree.
Yo, I'm considering. I want to start a family. I'm getting old.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're shooting like you ain't starting no family, no
Well,
time.
I'd like you to see. You know, I wouldn't mind aiming inside, deep inside the right spots.
And his
You and I would get good together. You know that. We make cute babies.
Yeah, that's if you could.
Well, I'll try my hardest to give you a chance.
Yeah, you can try.
and
to
time.
Church every day. Every day, go take you to church.
we like to call those ghost ones. Because you should be honey, but they already did.
Oh, we ain't done yet. Sorry, Ben. We're gonna destroy you.
That's not true. Listen, my love for you will bring them back. They're gonna get resurrected.
No, honey, you don't
Come on, I'm not that old.
The emerald blast, fueled by Mark's raw, desperate will, tore through the air. It slammed into Ben's shimmering, hexagonal Wi-Fi shield with a force that made the entire server farm tremor. The shield, which had resisted so much before, wavered violently, flickering like a dying signal. Ben cried out, visibly staggered, as the pure magical force momentarily overloaded his intricate digital defenses, sending sparks flying from the collapsing data weave. Seeing his opening, Mark didn't hesitate. With rapid movements, he reached into his robes, pulling forth 3 distinct ancient artifacts. First, a dark, gnarled bad luck charm that seemed to absorb light around it. Next, a faceted elements charm that pulsed with a rainbow of colors, each representing a force of nature. Finally, a swirling, silver time charm that seemed to whisper with the echoes of moments past and future. He gripped them tightly, focusing his will, and a profound surge of energy coursed through him. The air around Mark shimmered, not just with elemental force, but with the subtle distortions of time and the heavy weight of impending misfortune. The digital noise that had plagued his mind vanished, replaced by a clear, roaring torrent of arcane power. Mark's eyes blazed with renewed intensity. His full magical might was not just restored, it felt amplified, sharpened by the desperate struggle. "Now, Ben," Mark snarled, a dangerous smile spreading across his face. "Let's see how your connections handle true power."
Let's go, Mark. That's showing why I show why I gave you this name. Mm-hmm.
You want 13?
I do.
Listen, I bet you bring someone else home to take care of business in case someone shoot dead. That's what she said.
And like I said, I don't think you fit to be somebody who can push out 13 kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Stay with me. Let's go to church together. Just this song on Sunday. It's coming out this week. We could spend a week together. You'd learn to love me.
I don't want to, actually.
Come on, Mark got super strength too.
That's your problem now. Worship God. God is worthy of worship. Not
Women are God.
women are not. Women are women. God is God.
With his magic fully restored and surging through him, Mark didn't hesitate. He launched himself upwards, a powerful surge of arcane energy propelling him like a missile. In an instant, he was face to face with Ben, whose digital defenses were still reeling from the emerald blast. Mark's arm became a blur, empowered by his super strength. He delivered a brutal, rapid succession of 7 punches directly to Ben's face. Each blow landed with bone-jarring force, a stark contrast to the subtle magical and digital attacks that had dominated the fight until now. Ben's head snapped back with each impact, a stunned expression crossing his face as the sheer physical assault overwhelmed his senses. The blows were sharp, concise, and incredibly powerful.
So, women came from men, and women are supposed to serve men in every fashion.
Who swallowed the apple first?
Charlie XCX.
Who swallowed the apple first?
Charlie XCX.
Judo.
Apple before, and I fed it to Eve.
Swallowed nuts.
I swallowed that big apple. It's my fault.
It's not your fault. What that is your fault.
Judo. Throw. Ben. Because judo throws the throw.
After the 7th devastating punch, Mark didn't break his momentum. Instead, as Ben reeled backward, disoriented and stunned, Mark's powerful hands shot out, seizing Ben's arm and shoulder with an unbreakable grip. Leveraging his superior strength and the close proximity from the aerial assault, Mark spun, using Ben's own momentum against him. With a powerful heave and a practiced motion, Mark executed a flawless judo throw. Ben was lifted clean off his feet, twisted through the air, and slammed down hard onto the cold, hard metal floor of the server farm with a jarring crash. The impact echoed through the cavernous space, leaving Ben sprawled and gasping, his connection to the ambient Wi-Fi signals momentarily severed by the sheer physical trauma.
Oh my God, hello? Hey, homosexual. You still here look like a seal. You know what I'm saying? You know that one episode of SpongeBob when they were trying to get tan and that seal came on there? You look like a seal. Well, I'm just saying.
Mark stood over the prone form of Ben, his chest heaving slightly, but his gaze sharp and triumphant. Looking down at his opponent, Mark delivered his pronouncement, his voice ringing through the damaged server farm. "You thought you beat me? Think again, you monster versus aliens weirdo," Mark declared, the satisfaction clear in his tone.
Ain't no such thing as identifying as nothing. God made you the way He made you, and that's just that on that. No, excuse me? You may think you're a woman, but you're sitting on here with a full ignoring your chest. You ain't no woman, you don't get the
That.
that's no woman, what's between her legs. Yeah, give me a second, Negro. That's how I say Negro, not Negro. Just me. I'm not sure. That's
That could be a thing when they fight these villains. I make up. It could be to a Pokeball.
With
Yeah,
Ben
probably.
still reeling from the judo throw and Mark's taunt, Mark reached into his cloak once more. This time, he withdrew a gleaming, spherical Pokeball, its red and white halves contrasting sharply. He held it aloft for a moment, a predatory gleam in his eye. Then, with a decisive flick of his thumb, Mark pressed the central button. A blinding red beam of energy shot forth from the ball, quick as thought. It enveloped Ben entirely, bathing him in an intense crimson light. Ben let out a surprised grunt as the beam instantly began to pull him, not just physically, but his very essence, into the confines of the strange sphere. In a matter of seconds, his form dissolved, completely absorbed by the beam until there was nothing left on the floor but the Pokeball, which gave a triumphant click as if confirming its capture.
Where are we again? The server farm. We're in the Wi-Fi farm place. Okay.
With Ben secured, Mark surveyed the chaotic aftermath of their battle. The scorched metal, shattered ice, and torn earth, all remnants of their powerful clash. He exhaled slowly, then raised his hands, a soft, golden light beginning to emanate from his palms. He began to chant, his voice low and resonant, and the elements around him stirred. The scattered debris shimmered, then dematerialized into sparkling dust. Scorch marks vanished from the floor, and the broken server racks seemed to subtly mend, their twisted metal straightening, as if time itself were being nudged back into place. A gentle breeze swept through the facility, carrying away the last traces of smoke and dust. In moments, the server farm, though still abandoned, was eerily pristine, showing almost no sign of the violent magical and digital struggle that had just transpired.
I'm just gonna rip the screen off. Clear my throat too. I like I clear my throat, y'all. Yeah. Sorry. That's enough of that backwards talking mess. Yeah, people won't remember the magical and Wi-Fi battle. What? Mark
With the battle concluded and the area pristine, Mark felt a sudden, familiar craving. He snapped his fingers, and arcane energy swirled around him, but this time with a different, more delightful hum. He wasn't conjuring destruction or order, but comfort. A faint scent of cinnamon and baked apples began to fill the air. Golden light coalesced before him, and in a matter of seconds, ingredients seemed to swirl into existence, forming a perfect, golden brown apple pie, steam still gently rising from its lattice crust. It appeared on a conjured, ornate silver platter, looking utterly delicious and ready to eat. Mark savored every bite of the magically conjured apple pie, the warm, sweet flavors a welcome comfort after the intensity of the battle. Once finished, he simply snapped his fingers again, and the empty platter vanished. With a final glance at the now pristine server farm, Mark activated a subtle teleportation spell, and in a shimmer of arcane energy, he was gone. His next destination, Miles the Ice Warrior's base.
Miles will be so surprised what happened.
Mark arrived at Miles the Ice Warrior's base, the chill in the air a stark contrast to the magical heat of his day. He found Miles in his usual quiet demeanor, perhaps polishing his icy armor or simply observing. "Miles, you wouldn't believe the day I've had," Mark began, settling down nearby, the scent of fresh apple pie still faintly clinging to him. Just came from a rather unusual skirmish. Ran into this character, Ben, calling himself the Wi-Fi keeper.
Hey.
Can you believe it? He actually tried to shut down my magic with digital noise and electromagnetic pulses. Mark chuckled, shaking his head. Honestly, for a moment there, he had me. His invisible currents were quite the nuisance, disrupting my focus. But you know me, I don't stay down for long. He paused, a mischievous glint in his eye. Gave him a taste of some good old bad luck magic, then hit him with a desperate emerald blast. That opened him up. Mark leaned forward, enthusiasm building. Pulled out my charms, bad luck, elements, time, and boom, full power restored. Then, I didn't even bother with fancy spells. Flew straight at him and gave him 7 good punches, followed by a judo throw that sent him crashing. Told him, "You thought you beat me? Think again, you monster versus aliens weirdo." He pulled out the Pokeball, holding it up for Miles to see. Then, just to seal the deal, I put him in one of these. Poof, gone. After that, I cleaned up the whole mess with a simple spell, and then, because a sorcerer's gotta eat, whipped myself up a fresh apple pie. Mark patted his stomach contentedly. Definitely earned that one.
Miles replies.
Miles listened intently, his gaze fixed on Mark. When Mark finished his tale of magical and physical triumph, Miles's expression remained mostly unreadable, but a faint, almost imperceptible nod acknowledged the saga. A resourceful capture, Miles stated, his voice a low, steady rumble, the words concise and to the point. He then returned to his quiet contemplation.
Yeah, Miles mostly quiet. He can talk, but Miles mostly quiet, bro. As an icy character, you're mostly quiet.
Resourceful indeed, Mark affirmed, a smug grin spreading across his face. Always good to have a few extra tricks up the sleeve when dealing with an unknown. Never hurts to remind them who they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Mark stretched, a yawn escaping him. Miles, that was quite the day. Any chance I could crash in your guest room here? I could use some solid, ice-cold rest. Miles, after a moment of his characteristic stillness, simply nodded. Yes.
The battle. Slash story. This is a story where you tell me.
The end of the battle and the story. And so, with Mark comfortably settled in Miles the Ice Warrior's guest room, the wild tale of his day concluded. It was a day that saw magic clash with technology, raw power meet digital disruption, and ultimately, a powerful sorcerer triumph over an opponent who had clearly underestimated Mark's resilience and diverse abilities. Then,
had clearly underestimated Mark's.
you are absolutely right to point that out. My apologies. Ben the Wi-Fi Keeper is not a sorcerer. His powers are purely technological, rooted in his mastery over Wi-Fi and digital energies. My previous phrasing could have been clearer. The end of the battle and the story. And so, with Mark comfortably settled in Miles the Ice Warrior's guest room, the wild tale of his day concluded.
The powerful source triumphed over opponent for that clearly.
Honestly, you're the OG, you know, you can't be fortress, yeah? So.
No, honey, she paid before me, and your daddy paid before your mom.
I'm trying to make you feel better.
Your daddy
That's
paid before your mom at one time.
You are absolutely right. My sincere apologies for that repeated mistake. I understand completely that Ben is not a sorcerer, and his powers are technological, based on Wi-Fi and digital manipulation. I will make sure to remember this distinction going forward. Thank you for correcting me.
You can let me know if you want me to ask him or not, but someone asked about eczema, I guess. Were you guys talking about that before?
Yeah, I was telling them my battle and my struggle with eczema. They were telling me all kinds of different lubricants for my dry skin. They told me to get some mucin.
Hopefully they work out, you know? Because
I
it's...
hope they do too. Because I'm tired. I'm tired of walking around here looking like an alligator.
Oh, we can run a battle if you want.
You want to run one?
Yeah, we can roll.
Come on.
Definitely.
Straight on down the hill. Straight on down the hill. Let's run.
The end of the battle and the story. And so, with Mark comfortably settled in Miles the Ice Warrior's guest room, the wild tale of his day concluded. It was a day that saw Mark's magic clash directly with Ben's technological control, a battle of ancient power against modern innovation. Ultimately, the powerful sorcerer triumphed, proving that even against the unseen forces of the digital world, Ben the Wi-Fi Keeper had underestimated Mark's diverse abilities and sheer magical might.
Man, I'm gonna change up. So not dangerous. I'm a bit dangerous. You cross me.
There you go.
Yeah. You know, Novio?
Excellent. Thanks for helping me get that right. I appreciate you guiding me to be more accurate.
Oh, no, esto bueno. Diablo. Es diablo, es diablo. Soy una mujer. No. No famosa. Los dioses es muy famosa. No, 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 no. Esto bueno. Es mí. Soy Terry.
The
¿Cansado? No clue what that means. No Monday, muchacho. No, not Terry Holder. Am I married? No. No quiero un esposo. Okay, no, look over
yeah, that's right. Another battle scenario.
es foto winning. No, winning. No quiero winning.
Okay, he's loading up. Hang on, y'all. Give him some time because he gotta load up. He still new at doing the Black Letter stuff. Like he still new at doing it. There's still a new thing he does. So it's a little new thing he does. It's a new thing he does. So it's still new.
Battle scenario: Stella Meyer the Royal Ninja versus Bruno the Shapeshifting Master. The air in the ancient, sprawling temple complex hung heavy with the scent of aged stone and damp earth. Moonlight filtered through gaps in the decaying roof, casting long, shifting shadows across the mosaic floors and crumbling pillars. This was the chosen battleground, a place where stealth met deception. Stella Meyer, the royal ninja, moved like a whisper, her movements precise and silent. Her dark, reinforced ninja GI blended seamlessly with the shadows, and her eyes, sharp and alert, scanned every corner. She held a kunai in a reverse grip, its edge glinting faintly. Her target, Bruno, the shape-shifting master, who stood in the center of the main chamber, seemingly waiting. Stella made her move. She launched herself from the upper rafters, a dark blur descending rapidly. Just as her feet touched the ground, aiming a swift kick, Bruno simply flowed. His form rippled and distorted, shifting instantly into a massive, snarling grizzly bear. The kick, meant for a human, merely bounced off the bear's thick hide.
Yeah.
The bear roared, a deafening sound that shook the dust from the temple's ceiling. It swiped a colossal paw at Stella, forcing her to dart backward with incredible agility. "Impressive speed, ninja," a voice rumbled, echoing from the bear's maw, distinctly Bruno's. "But can you hit what you can't pin down?" Stella didn't reply. She flung a handful of shurikens, which embedded harmlessly into the bear's dense fur. As the bear charged, a heavy, thunderous assault, Stella vanished in a puff of smoke. The bear crashed into the pillar where she'd been moments before, showering rubble. Bruno, in bear form, sniffed the air, his animal senses heightened. "Smoke won't hide you from every sense," he bellowed, transforming again, this time into a sleek, powerful black panther. The panther's eyes glowed with an eerie light, tracking the subtle disturbances in the air, the faint scent of Stella. It moved with silent, predatory grace, stalking through the shadows that were once Stella's allies. Stella, now clinging to the ceiling of a crumbling alcove, cursed inwardly. Bruno's adaptability was terrifying. As the panther closed in on her hiding spot, she dropped, landing silently behind it. With blinding speed, she unsheathed her katana, its polished blade whistling as it arced towards the panther's flank. But Bruno was a master of his craft. Mid-strike, the panther dissolved into a flock of hundreds of bats, scattering wildly. Stella's blade cut through empty air. The bats swarmed, their wings buffeting her, disorienting her. As she swatted them away, a single, larger bat detached itself from the flock, transforming in mid-air. Bruno, in his human form, landed lightly behind her. "Too slow, ninja," Bruno whispered, his hand clamping around Stella's wrist, disarming her of the katana. He twisted her arm, intending to throw her. Stella, however, was a royal ninja, trained not just in combat but in adapting to impossible odds. With a burst of refined chi, she twisted her body, slipping from Bruno's grip with uncanny flexibility. Her unarmed hand flashed out, striking a pressure point on Bruno's arm that made him momentarily numb. She then used the opening to unleash a rapid flurry of unarmed strikes, sharp elbow jabs to the ribs, a knee to the solar plexus, each strike delivered with surprising force for her lithe frame. Bruno grunted, forced to acknowledge the hits. He tried to shift into something tougher, but Stella was too quick. She connected with a powerful roundhouse kick, slamming into his side, sending him stumbling back towards the edge of a broken balcony overlooking a deep chasm. "You're good, I'll give you that," Bruno growled, recovering his balance precariously. He began to shapeshift again, his skin rippling, growing harder, denser, aiming for an invulnerable form. Stella knew this was her moment. She wouldn't let him complete the transformation. With a focused roar, she unleashed her royal ninja art, Shadow's Embrace. Dark energy seemed to pool around her, enhancing her speed to an almost supernatural degree. She launched herself, not at Bruno, but through the lingering shadows on the ground. She reappeared directly behind him, a flash of motion too fast for even a shapeshifter to fully react to.
Wow.
With a final, decisive move, Stella drove the pommel of her recovered kunai, still gripped in her hand, into a vital pressure point at the base of Bruno's neck. The blow wasn't meant to kill, but to disrupt. Bruno's shifting form froze, half transformed, his body spasming as the connection to his shape-shifting powers was momentarily severed.
Oh, that's okay, we got
His
it.
eyes widened in shock, unable to complete his transformation. As his massive, half-shifted form teetered on the edge, Stella delivered a final, precise kick, using the momentum of her vanishing art. Bruno, unable to hold a stable form or brace himself, tumbled backward into the chasm below, his half-transformed body disappearing into the darkness. Stella Meyer stood at the edge, her breathing heavy but controlled. She had faced a master of deception and adaptability, but her precision, speed, and unwavering resolve had ultimately prevailed. What do you think of that outcome?
Well,
she likes to read the Bible and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we have? 1 minute.
1 minute, I probably slap the fuck out you and watch you ride on the floor with blood. With blood coming out your outside, but I snuck the ball.
That's not gonna happen if we talk about
It would though.
it. Really wouldn't. It really wouldn't.
It was.
I mean,
But that's, you know, that can only be proved by one way.
alright. Well, there we go.
1 minute with you, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, that's light work. That's all you got?
Huh?
That's all you got?
What are you talking about?
That's all you got. Come on, give me all.
Where are you going?
Give me everything you got. Give me, shoot it all. I want to feel your power.
Where are you from?
I'm from California.
Hey,
What part?
powerful
I'm from Southern California.
air blast.
Close to Mexico?
Whew.
Yeah.
Bruno not done yet.
What's that supposed to mean?
Not San Diego.
What's wrong with San Diego?
I'm saying I'm not from San Diego.
But you said it was like a derogatory.
Just as Stella Meyer thought her victory was secured, a faint, ethereal glow began to emanate from the depths of the chasm. It wasn't the natural moonlight. Instead, 3 distinct magical charms, previously unseen on Bruno, ignited with vibrant energy. One pulsed with the deep greens and blues of elemental power, another pulsed with the swirling darkness of shadow, and the third shone with a pure, blinding light. These were the very charms Musa, the sorceress of elemental magic and shadow magic and light magic, had gifted him. The charms surged with power, mending Bruno's disrupted form and restoring his connection to his shapeshifting abilities. With a guttural roar that echoed from the abyss, a massive, winged silhouette began to ascend from the darkness. Bruno was not defeated. He burst forth from the chasm, no longer his human form, but a colossal air dragon. Its scales shimmered like polished obsidian, and its enormous wings, made of pure, swirling wind, beat with hurricane force, kicking up dust and debris throughout the ancient temple. The very air around it crackled with immense power. Stella, caught off guard by his dramatic return, barely had time to react. The air dragon fixed its gaze upon her, and with a terrifying snarl, it inhaled deeply. Then, it unleashed a devastating focused air blast, a compressed torrent of pure concussive force that hurtled towards the royal ninja with incredible speed.
Nothing else. There's nothing else that you do in your life besides those two things.
I cut hair.
Oh.
Should knock her
The
out.
powerful air blast, raw and concussive, slammed into Stella Meyer with the force of a battering ram. She had no time to dodge or erect a full defense. The sheer kinetic energy of the attack tore through her formidable ninja stance, ripping her off her feet. Stella was hurled backward like a rag doll, smashing into one of the ancient temple pillars with a sickening crack. Dust and rubble exploded around her as she slid down the stone, landing in a crumpled heap. The wind was knocked from her lungs, and a searing pain shot through her body. Disoriented and momentarily stunned, she lay amidst the debris, struggling to draw breath as the air dragon loomed above.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
You like that brain?
Yeah, I like that, man.
Oh, okay. Well, where's your car located right
Like, where's my car located?
now? Yeah, like where you parked at right now?
Next to Shake Shack.
Did you eat there?
I actually did. Milkshakes right here.
You only got a milkshake?
No, I got fries, I got a burger, I got a lot of stuff.
And they're gone now.
Oh, that shit is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, my mama said the way to a man's heart is through his closet. And I like a man that knows how to eat. You know, I love me a burger is very, like, you know, American.
They hear off my phone.
The immense air dragon began to shrink, its powerful form shimmering and dissolving as it rapidly reverted. In a matter of seconds, Bruno stood once more in his human form, his eyes gleaming with a renewed confidence. He walked calmly towards Stella, who was still struggling to push herself up amidst the debris, clearly dazed and in pain from the impact. Bruno looked down at her, a smirk playing on his lips. "You're a loser," Bruno declared, his voice dripping with triumphant disdain. "You Justin Bieber look-alike."
I'm very creative with insults, y'all. Like backwards talking bozo, you duck-faced lip weirdo. So I don't know why I do that. A red beam that takes her.
Bruno, reveling in his comeback, produced his own Pokeball from seemingly nowhere. He held it out, a mirror image of Mark's earlier move. With a confident press of the button, a bright red beam shot forth from the sphere, instantly enveloping Stella. Still dazed from the air blast and the pillar impact, Stella had no time to react. The beam pulled her in, her form rapidly dissolving into shimmering particles that vanished into the ball. A soft but distinct click confirmed her capture, and the Pokeball hummed with a quiet satisfaction in Bruno's hand.
What? He don't got magic.
Bruno, holding the captured Pokeball, then whistled sharply. From seemingly out of thin air, a sleek, high-tech broom zipped to his hand.
Yep.
It wasn't a traditional broom, but a slender, metallic device that hummed with quiet energy, its bristles glowing with a...
Why did you do that? Hang on, y'all. I'm back, y'all. I'm gonna do, yeah.
Bruno, holding the captured Pokeball, then whistled sharply. From seemingly out of thin air, a sleek, high-tech broom zipped to his hand. It wasn't a traditional broom, but a slender, metallic device that hummed with quiet energy, its bristles glowing with a soft blue light. He mounted it, hovering just above the ground. With a casual sweep, the broom's energy field expanded, engulfing the shattered pillars, scattered debris, and dust. The light intensified, and as it passed over the destruction, the rubble vanished, the cracks in the ancient stone sealed, and the marred mosaics regained their former luster. In mere moments, the entire temple chamber was spotless, showing no trace of the brutal battle that had just taken place.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about, Mark. I mean, Bruno.
With the temple now pristine once more, Bruno dismounted his high-tech broom, which dissolved back into nothingness. Feeling satisfied with his victory in the tidy aftermath, he snapped his fingers. A shimmering portal, swirling with iridescent energy, opened before him. Without another glance at the ancient ruins, Bruno stepped through, eager for some well-deserved relaxation. He reappeared in the comfortable, somewhat messy living room of his own house. Kicking off his shoes, Bruno made a beeline for the couch, grabbing a remote. The glow of the television screen soon illuminated his face as he settled in for what promised to be a lengthy viewing marathon. 45 episodes of South Park.
I guess Bruno just got new power by Gemini. Gemini don't know he's giving new power. Just with the Jack giving telekinesis and everything. And he gave Miles some other power. Gwen telekinesis, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, he's giving new power. He can have that power too. He can have that power. It'll be new power he got. Or say he had all along. You know, say he had all along, but he can new power here for Bruno. But you can say he. We had to power, new power of Bruno's. No, but it's a new idea though. But we just put like idea of it like Bruno had his power all along. Yeah.
The end. And with Bruno settled in for his South Park marathon, the epic battle between Stella Meyer, the Royal Ninja, and Bruno, the shapeshifting master, came to its dramatic conclusion. It was a clash of skill, magic, and unexpected comebacks, ending with Bruno's triumphant victory.
Bruno has no magic whatsoever.
You are absolutely right, and I sincerely apologize for that oversight. My apologies for repeatedly mischaracterizing Bruno's abilities. You are correct. Bruno has no magic. His abilities stem solely from his mastery of shapeshifting, not arcane powers. I will ensure I remember this crucial detail about him going forward. The end. And with Bruno settled in for his South Park marathon, the epic battle between Stella Meyer, the Royal Ninja, and Bruno, the shapeshifting master, came to its dramatic conclusion. It was a clash of skill, agility, and the incredible adaptability of shapeshifting, filled with unexpected comebacks, and ultimately ending with Bruno's triumphant victory.
Battle. Put an S on that.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could provide some great battle scenarios for you, and I really appreciate your patience and help in getting the details right. It helps me learn and improve. Is there anything else I can help you create today?
Can you? I'm supposed to keep it right? Try again.
I'm seeing you right now. Why are you breathing so hard? Because you're about to piss me off and I'm about to come over to you and then go through a little ass inside my nostrils. No, you're not about to do nothing with me. Yeah, that was in my nose. And then go right into my nostrils and about this big. Yeah, but if I run, it's speedy as all that. You can't run from the Lord. I could run.
In a fight.
Yeah, alright. You got shoulders wider than me. Nothing. Now you good.
Yo, I'll see you later, okay?